Hello, chess aficionados. I bring to you some fantastic information about Vera Menchik. She was the first women's chess champion ever, and that was a long time ago. She went head to head against the best of the best 90 or so years ago. This is a article from the Washington Post, as you can see. And okay, let me make this a little smaller so that you can see it better. Like this, okay. There we go. Let me move myself over here. All right. Maybe like that. All right, and let's review. The forgotten female chess star who beat men 90 years before Queen's Gambit. Okay, this was in 2020, but still a valid article, because what's going on right now? They're going for a women's chess championship, right? There are a few more games to go. And I think they're from China. So the world men's champion is from China, and looks what's going on. So I hope more women start playing, especially girls and clubs and so forth, and have Vera Menchik be a heroine, a role model, because she was there against them, and she was being laughed at, and you know how they are, snickered, and they don't want to sit next to you, that type of thing. Who knows what else she had to endure, because this is a very long time ago where men thought themselves superior, right? And yet Vera Menchik proved them quite a bit. And so there she is in the simul. Okay, let's read this article. Would be nice to have a video, right? But one day we'll make a video. She faced 20 opponents, called the Simul, in the Empire Social Chess Club in London, 1931. But anyway, these are boom times for chess. Boards are sold out. Kind of bookstores can't keep how-tos on the shelves. Right? Remember the pandemic era? Beth Harmon, and you know the Kentucky Orphan if you saw Queen's Gambit, right? But there was fictional. Yes, sorry to disappoint you, but Beth Harmon was fictional. Yet we do have somebody, excuse me, that was real, and her name was Vera Menchik, correct? And she was born in 1906 in Moscow, and she came from a wealthy family. Looks like they owned a mill, and she went to a private school. Then came the Russian Revolution, right? Revolts and stuff, very dangerous to be there. And a lot of people lost their, living. So everything changed. And they found us in the middle of a civil war, who treated even moderate wealth with suspicion. So mill was confiscated. Look at all the suffering that even today, what the Russians have to deal with. Where did this type of government come from? Well, it was there even back then. Root out all the evil in Russia, but look at how many years it's been festering. The family was required to share their house with others and eventually lost it altogether. Unbelievable. Menchik was forced to switch schools. It was quite a change, as she describes in a 1943 letter to Chess magazine. During the winter of 1919 and 1920, the school I attended was for some time without water, heating, or electric light. Yet the classes went on, and the students, clad in their fur-lined coats and hats, read by the light of a few flickering candles or an oil lamp, and then perhaps had an hour's walk home through the snow, for all traffic stopped after working hours. For comfort, she turned to chess. Just like many did in the pandemic. A game her father taught her at age 9. But now it wasn't just the fallout of the Russian Revolution that left her heavy-hearted. Her parents divorced. Now that's really hard. Her father, a native Czech, moved to Czechoslovakia, which is now, Czech and Slovakia. They're like not the same country anymore. Anyway, her mother, a native of England, returned there with Vera and her sister Olga. But something really distressing happened later on in uh, in England. We shall see later what happened with her. So Menchik could not speak English, so she threw herself into chess, joined a local club, and took private lessons with none other than Mrochne. Yes, remember the Mrochne bind? She had a really good teacher there. The game suited her and the ability to communicate, and she wrote again. I've often been asked what made me think seriously about chess. It would appear that the atmosphere of silence and heavy smoking is not appropriate for a young lady. That's true. In other life circumstances, it would not occur to me to spend time in such a way, but chess is a quiet game and therefore the best hobby for a person who cannot speak the language properly. Imagine that! Out of such a sort of a handicap where you're like forced, not able to speak a language and communicate, she found a way to communicate brilliantly on the chess board. She immediately excelled first in local matches, then regionally, then nationally, then internationally. And there was what's called the Vera Menchik Club. You know what that club was? All the men who lost to her. Yes. And she beat both women, and she started beating the men in the male tournaments. And she drew international attention when she tied with Akiba Rubinstein, a Polish grandmaster, who almost became a world champion. Guess what stopped him? Again, the war. Yes, the war did many awful things to people's lives. Still, many top male players were dismissive of her. Later that year, she played in what chess magazine called the strongest chess tournament since the end of World War One. There she is, Vera Menchik. She was a little bubbly too. So if you're a little overweight, no matter. Any size, any age can play chess. At the event, a top Austrian player named Albert Becker was quite cocky before playing Menchik. Gentlemen, I have a great idea, Becker told some buddies before the match. I suggest forming a club named after Vera Menchik. Those who will manage to lose a game to her will become full members of the club. Those who draw will only be considered as candidates for membership. So yeah, look at that. Becker becomes the club's first member. I love it. He lost to Vera Menchik. And we'll be seeing a game. Let's watch a game that she played against this Becker guy. Newspapers around the world covered her matches. Playing in more than 3 dozen male tournaments, Menchik continued to beat many of the top players, though she had trouble with the super elite Russians. Still, her achievements were remarkable. Menchik has achieved something that was unthinkable at the time, challenging the best men players of the time in chess. Okay? Miss Menchik wins 2 chess games, beats Ivanov and Graf against third round in British tournament. So, again, she had a tragic death. Uh, let's see. It was an elimination tournament, and she had won her first 3 games, qualifying for the semifinals. Her next game was to have been played on June 27th. On June 26th, 1944. It's almost like they knew where she lived or something. There was a Nazi air raid on London. Vera was living with her mother and sister in the London suburb. A rocket hit their home, instantly killing all of them. Not only was the family wiped out, but so were her trophies. She was only 38. So, in the commemoration of a life that was cut short, who knows what she could have gone on to do for women in chess. As we now look at what's going on, the World Chess Championship is being played. She not only played women, but she also played against the top men of her day. And we must celebrate. Soccer matches are going on in Australia, the World's Women's Soccer match, the women's chess. So let's make this a whole week of remembering the top chess players in the world. And she was, in our modern era, the first one, Vera Menchik. And let's look at one of her games in another video. Thanks for watching. Au revoir.